Hi, I'm Bally.
I'm Mark.
We're here at the Oaks Golf Club. We're at the short game area here. This is one of my favorite places in the world. Very, very fun place to be. Anybody who's been at the Oaks knows it's a very fun place. Yeah. We're very good at fun here. So down to the short game area, we're going to do a wedge fitting today. Mark's going to fit me. We're going to do a typical 3 wedge setup. So pitching wedge being part of the standard set, and then we're going to look at gap sand wall.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how are we doing there? We okay?
Yeah, no, you guys are good.
All right. So we're going to do something testing soft lies, tight lies, and bunkers. And I guess we'll kind of show how to do it properly and how to build the right setup.
Absolutely. And showcase kind of what you should be looking for when you go get your wedges fitted, right? So we'll touch on those points and you'll see that in a moment here. So enjoy.
All right. Let's do this.
Right away, we know that we're probably going to have a 52, 56, 60 set up somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can do a little tweaking here and there, but we're going to see kind of what a setup and hopefully the gapping is appropriate for him as well.
Something for people to know, the number that's stamped on the sole of the club is almost irrelevant.
For sure.
We're trying to get it to go a certain distance.
Exactly.
So don't get too caught up in what the loft is stated, because that can be altered in so many different ways.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. So we've got 63 yarder here. So Matt, I would ask you, what would you normally hit from this lie, this situation?
So this lie's soft. So the ground underneath is soft.
Very much so.
The grass is a little longer, so this is kind of like little shaggy lie.
Yeah.
This could also apply to if we actually go in the rough.
For sure.
So I definitely want bounce, because I don't want the leading edge to dig.
Yeah.
And I don't like swinging hard at wedges. So a lot of people like to hit a 60-degree wedge from 100 yards and they hit it hard.
Yeah.
No way.
Okay.
I would rather, take a half swing and kind of hold it off. The ball spins just as much, contact's better. So I'd like less loft.
Yeah.
I guess the least amount of loft to play the shot I need.
Okay. We're going to start here with a fairly high bounce wedge. Okay. So full grind here, 12 degrees of bounce. It's a Cleveland zip core. So you'll see when they say full grind, that essentially just means that there's no trail edge, no toe, no heel relief. So it's
got a big butt on it.
For sure. So this is something that in this situation probably perfect for. Might not be as versatile as we need it to be, but we can obviously figure that out, right? So we've got TrackMan running here, so we're going to get some data.
So, but I mean, I like just that practice swing, and that was like leading edge forward. I can feel it's not going to dig as much as like my typical low bounce wedge.
Yeah, because this situation, like you're going to dig whatever you hit here. It's not you're not going to clip this perfectly.
Let me just throw on a glove here.
Yep.
Don't need any excuses for the bad shots I hit.
He's got enough of them.
Oh, I got a lot.
All right. So
63 is total yardage.
It is. So trying to land this in and around 58, 59 sort of thing. Would be my thought. Okay, so it sounded very good. Might be a touch long.
Yeah, it came out. To be honest with you, like it just came out a little hotter.
Yeah.
But it was really good.
Solid.
To be honest with you, it came out hotter because the leading edge didn't dig.
Yes.
So you know what I mean. More bounce can generally, in those bad lies, help the ball get out faster.
For
if that makes sense.
Yeah. You're going to make a little cleaner contact, less dirt and grass in between the face, right? So you're going to get a little crisper contact. So that carried 69, right? So we know that that's about 10 yards long of what we would want, but obviously we're just getting warmed up here.
Felt like it jumped, but it was, again, I like the way it went through the turf.
Good. Yeah, it seemed like a crisp divot. Similar story there. So that should hit the flag.
That's a little higher, and I felt like I cut it more.
Yeah. So
the greens are like a rock, but I felt like that was a good shot.
There's no grab, yeah. So that was 61 carry, right?
Okay,
so you landed that
we're in the number
6 feet short of it. You made a nice adjustment there. Same divot pattern there too. Didn't get deeper. Wasn't off to the left or anything like that. So
yeah, I do feel like it gets through it well. I'll give you one more if you want.
Yeah, let's see one more with that guy, because your tack angle is not super steep, which is nice on this style shot. So you're 4 degrees down there.
Okay.
Right? So that's where in certain situations with different wedges, you're probably going to hit down on it more depending on what shot you're trying to hit. But just as a standard kind of 60 yarder here, let's see one more. That was really nice.
Yeah, so that one I was a little more down.
Yeah.
Ooh, it came out a little hotter.
It did come out a little faster, but you could tell you spun that a ton. Right?
Yeah.
So you spun that almost twice as much there. So that was 6,600 spin. So
okay, for a little shot like that, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that had some grab. So that carried 68, 173.
Okay, yeah, so I'm hitting it a little too far, but that's an adjustment on my end. one thing for people to understand, out of soft turf, the ball will spin less.
For sure, yeah. You're
There's
not going to
nothing
get the
to pinch.
compression, exactly.
Right.
And you can see too, obviously, we want to clean this face as much as we can as well during this process, because we know that obviously dirt and grass, mud gets in the way, and we're going to find that our spin rates are going to decline a ton.
That was good. I mean, it was easy to hit the shots. I didn't have to worry about beefing it,
for sure,
chunking it,
for
hitting
sure.
one heavy.
And I think the question would be is this something you're comfortable hitting it out of a long bunker shot, right? Like for you, you're obviously, let's say we go 52, 56, 60, you're in that range.
Which is very common. That's kind of typical.
Yeah. What are you going to use your lob wedge for? What are you going to use your sand wedge for? Would be my next question.
So the lob wedge is only, like, generally I don't even carry one.
Okay.
The lob wedge is only for, oops, I short-sided myself. Generally I'm using a lob wedge if I've done something bad.
Okay.
So if I'm in a bad situation, I need to flip one up in the air. But I almost don't want to use one, which is why I don't even have one in my bag.
Currently, yeah. So, okay, so let's say short-sided bunker shot. Are you using a lob wedge, or are you still using your sand wedge?
Depends on the sand.
Okay.
If it's hard packed sand,
yeah, you're going to use lob wedge.
I'll use a lob wedge.
Okay.
Because I'll enter it a little closer to the ball.
Yeah, so from what you're saying, it sounds like you play or want to play a lower bounce lob wedge, right? Because you're not using it from this shot, right?
Yeah,
so
no, never. I'll just, if I need more loft, I can open up something with bounce.
Yes.
And then it works for me because it won't dig. So
Absolutely.
anytime you open the face, you add bounce.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll need it from tight lies.
Okay.
So when we go play Augusta National.
Yeah, when we get the invite.
Yeah, I'm waiting. It hasn't come
It
yet.
hasn't arrived yet.
No.
But no, and that's good to know, because that means that you should be playing something that has a little more versatility in the lob wedge. You can open the face, you can kind of do some trick shots with it, but we don't need it to perform from the middle of the fairway, which is huge, right? And I think a lot of people don't understand that, you know what, Matt chips a lot with his 60 degree in bad lies. He's not using it from this lie.
No,
so
never.
We can go with something that has fairly low bounce, knowing that that's not something he's going to be using. So some people are different, right? Like I hit my lob wedge from 80 to 90 yards. I could hit it a little bit further, but I try not to. So I need it versatile, right? I need it to be able to hit it longer, a little shorter. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to something a little bit different. So we had a fairly high bounce wedge here. We're going to go to something that has a little bit less and kind of a different look to it. So let me grab here. We've got the Mizuno here.
Okay.
So that's the D grind. So there is a little bit of relief on here. So still fairly high in bounce, a little bit trailing edge relief, and then minor toe relief there. So it should interact with the surface a little bit different. So this is where this gives you another option for a higher bounce wedge to create the same shot that you're hitting here, but also maybe open it up in a fairway bunker or in a greenside bunker that's a little bit longer than you would take your 64. So let's just hear some contact here. That's a really important thing when fitting with wedges. The sound is extremely important. You can really get a lot of information from how crisp the ball comes off the face. Okay, so that launched a little bit higher.
Way higher.
So definitely came out a little higher. Distance control was very good there.
Yeah, I felt like I may have scooped it a hair. It just kind of, there was less sole, even though there's a lot of bounce. It was, again, very good through mushy turf.
Yeah.
I can tell that in tight turf, this would be a nightmare.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a good soft turf.
Yeah. So with this shot here too, are you playing your hands forwards? Are you playing them neutral? Are you playing your hands back? Okay, pretty neutral.
I feel neutral anyway, like about there.
Yeah. So that's one thing for people to understand too. If you play this shot with your hands way forwards, you're removing a ton of bounce. So you already need to start with something that has more, because every degree of loft you take off, you're taking off a degree of bounce when you go to hit this shot. So where Matt is fairly neutral here, so he's playing at about 10 degrees of bounce, he's probably taking a little bit of loft off through impact, reducing a little bounce as well, but let's see how he gets on with this one. Okay, good. So that's a totally different flight there.
Yeah, so I pulled that one. My body just got a little lazy.
So that was more like you tried to stop that with height, it looked like, right? Rather than spin.
So something about when I look at this, I want to open it.
Okay, okay.
And I like playing my clubs open, which is, it's, maybe I don't need as much bounce because,
you're going to add
if you give me something with 12, I'm going to add some anyway.
Okay, good to know. Because we'll think about that. So this is the point here too. That spun at 2,000, right? So
so there was
spun
no
like
hit
a driver. Yeah. So essentially, that's where when you do get a little bit of dirt and grass outside, you're going to combat a lot more elements than you are obviously off a perfect situation in our footing studio. So this is where we can see, okay, you know what? If shot looked fine,
Yeah.
but looking back at the numbers, if this green was any firmer, it's already fairly firm.
Yeah, but it's gone. That's
It's
not
gone.
holding.
That is not going to stop.
So
from
this
60
is
yards.
where
Yeah.
I've got to stop it. Like I can't just hit those 2 checkers.
No.
And it's really hard to hit a 2 checker out of a mush lie.
For sure. And I
Got
think
it.
like that's where in this situation, something with a little wider sole width would give them a better chance at creating
Okay.
crisp contact. But let's try one more here.
Yep.
That's,
So that I felt I nipped.
Yeah.
That might be a hair short.
yeah, it's a pretty shot though.
I mean, I hit it good.
For sure. And I think that's where we're not spinning this as much. It doesn't sound the same. Your distance control is a little bit more off. You've pulled a couple of them.
Yeah,
So
it's
obviously
probably not the one.
The turf interaction isn't perfect.
It's funny.
So,
See, I like the look. It just doesn't do what I need.
yeah, exactly. And that's where, I mean, you could always, if you as a player too, you know what you don't like about a wedge. So you're pretty handy on the grinding wheel. You know that you could modify that and probably make
Yeah,
that
you remember?
something
I'm
that-
pretty handy on the grinding wheel.
Here we go.
So I've got a 57-degree wedge,
Of course you do. Yeah.
slightly modified.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I knew there'd be something. Jeez. Get at it. So we're gonna go to something a little bit different. So still a very high bounce wedge. So this is the Wilson Staff model, 56 degree, it's 14 degrees of bounce. But what I want you guys to notice here is it's a much thinner camber here. So a much thinner sole, even though it still has 14 degrees of bounce, right? So if we look at what Matt was just hitting, little bit larger sole width. Obviously it's been ground here a little bit as well. So you're gonna get a little bit of a different interaction with the turf here. This has more angle, less width essentially. So let's see how that feels. So that's our Wilson Staff.
Underrated club.
For sure. I play the 60, I love
Yeah.
it. It's
Make
it
it
does
stuff.
everything that I could ever ask for. So
Oh, by the way, so we're doing a 3 wedge setup, even though I normally play, well, when we say 3 wedge, we're fitting 3 wedges, gap, sand, lob.
Yeah.
I actually play a 3
Three
wedge
wedge setup,
which is
yeah.
pitching wedge,
gap wedge, yeah.
gap wedge-ish, weak gap wedge, and sand wedge.
Yeah.
We will do a 2 wedge fitting,
Yeah.
because this is designed for the person that goes pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge.
Absolutely,
So just
absolutely.
so everybody's got context.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna try this guy here. So we know that this is a little bit of a different construction than we've had in the last couple. So we'll see how this feels. I think we'll take a look at
Yeah.
numbers as well, but we want to see how comfortable you are with that. Okay,
So that one
came out
definitely dug a bit more.
It came out a little heavy, but it's right on line, and you almost hold it.
Yeah, it
But
almost went in.
yeah, definitely like
Whoa.
no spin on that, right? So that was again
Really?
2,500. So that
Okay.
thing is bounding.
I mean, I'll hit one more, but if it digs like that, it doesn't fit what I'm trying to do.
Well, exactly. So that's where in this situation, even though it has a lot of bounce, you have to take into account how thick the sole is. And this is a very, very thin sole. So off of kind of something a little bit tighter, you might be able to pinch this nicely and create some angle into the golf ball, hit down on it and still not dig it a ton. But on this soft lie, it's just grabbing and,
Okay.
and kind of closing the face. Okay, that sounded a little bit better.
Yeah, so I tried to kind of hold it open.
Yeah, that's
So-
spinning a little bit more.
But my issue is I had to hold it open to fight it not
You need to
digging.
manipulate,
It's not the right one.
Yeah,
Not
we
for
don't
this
want
shot.
you to manipulate to do
Nope.
that, right? So we're
Okay.
gonna do one more here. So this is a little different look. So this is a high toe 56 degree wedge from Callaway. So this is kind of the same.
High toe, you notice it's high.
Yeah,
That's why it's called a high toe.
the grooves extend all
Write
the
that
way to
down.
the edge of the face. So this is a wedge that if you did want to open the face, you have those grooves extending to the toe. If you do cut across it a little bit, you'll still get a little bit more friction and a little bit more spin off of kind of bad lies or certain shots. So, all right, let's see how this feels. See how this gets through the ground. That was way better.
Yeah, that was nipped.
That sounded
Like just
significantly
zipping.
better.
And, oh,
Yeah, so that had some spin on it. That carried perfect number there.
Okay.
Twice as much spin as the last one, right? So twice as much, which
Okay.
is especially on a 50, 60 yarder like this,
Yeah,
where we
that's
know
important.
for sure.
because, and again, distance controls everything with wedges. So you want to know it's going to, you know, if we laser it and we've got 63 yards and all things are equal,
Yeah.
I want to know that, okay, I've got to carry it 57 yards and
Yeah.
it's going to hop or whatever it is. I don't want inconsistent spin or I'll have no distance control.
For sure, for sure. All right,
Right.
let's see one more just like that last one. That sounds really
Yeah,
good.
no, this is something.
So that's-
this is like, so I actually I gave that a bit more speed. I was trying to see how much I could hold it open.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was probably spinning a lot,
yeah, that one spun about the same as the last one.
and I caught that a hair low.
Okay.
So that means if I did flush it, it would have been like
Yeah, it would've
super
been-
zipper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason, part of the reason behind the higher toes as well is it changes the center of gravity, right? So brings the center of gravity up a little bit, which makes that golf ball launch a little bit lower in this situation. So it's nice to see that obviously Callaway's put some research and development into this, because it's definitely a different window than what we just saw with the other two wedges. So
all right, one more.
Yeah, let's do
I
one
like
more.
this one a lot.
It sounds very, very
yeah.
good. Really good, really good. So a little higher flight.
Yeah, that
Should
one
have
I was.
some spin
This
on
is really good.
Yeah,
this
that's
is by far the best one.
Really solid. See, and that's where we know that a couple of these wedges are probably going to work for Matt in the way that he wants to see the ball come out, and obviously the turf interaction. But there's going to be a feel aspect, right? So as a fitter, I always tell people I can't feel what he feels. I can hear the sound, obviously, and I can see the data. But obviously, feel and kind of confidence over the golf ball is one of those things that you can't really impose on someone, you can't make happen. So the fact that it just happened naturally there is a nice progression in this fitting.
And
so
that is something important to tell your fitter. You know, something may give you great numbers, whether it's a driver or a wedge, a putter, whatever.
yeah,
It's got to feel right. If it doesn't,
yeah.
you got to communicate that. So
Yeah, you have to fall in love with it, right?
yeah, for sure.
Obviously, numbers and data
So
is
this is
important,
good.
but for us, we want something that's also gonna feel good, look good in your bag, right? We want you to kind of fall in love with it first, and then make sure the numbers are correct, right? So we know that that's spinning just as much as anything you've hit today as well. Your distance control is good. You hit a couple of different style shots there too. So this is where now in the wedge fitting, we know that, okay, this is a good place for us to start. We're gonna see kind of how this works out of a shaggier lie, something in the rough, and potentially some bunker shots as well.